Hey everyone, welcome to the episode. Today I wanted to talk about the importance of building a strong work ethic. The reason I wanted to talk about this particular topic was that I feel that there's a lot of people out there, especially first-time founders. If you're an entrepreneur or you're just starting to think about building a business for yourself, you don't know where to start. And there's certain things that can be sort of overlooked in many cases. And I feel building a strong work ethic is most effective ways towards success. And for me, I felt speaking with so many founders and entrepreneurs in the past, it was something that I came across myself, and having a front row seat to see founders who had a poor work ethic and those who were able to establish a very strong work ethic themselves, and also see the differences between the trajectories these entrepreneurs took. So in today's episode, I really wanted to talk to you about how to build strong work ethic. What do the foundations actually look like? Everything builds from there, and really see the benefits of what a strong work ethic can do for you, especially when it comes to building character, marginal gains, setting higher standards for yourself, and generally improving the odds of your success. And I also wanted to mention that building a work ethic isn't necessarily about working super insane long hours or sleeping on the floor of your office and not seeing your family. I feel that work ethic is a completely different thing altogether. And it's something that you can build and you can foster over time. And that's something that you can also strike with sustainability as well. And I know that there are a lot of people out there going through burnouts and they're going through high pressure, high stress situations. But if you're able to master some of these work ethic techniques and methods, I think it's going to go a long way in the longer term, make you much more stress-free, make you more balanced, but also make you much more mentally healthy, and a lot more opportunities that will come your way as well. And finally, I feel that this video isn't just for entrepreneurs or founders. This is for anyone who wants to do well, who believes in hard work, but also wants to do well for themselves. So I hope this episode helps you in building that strong work ethic. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to do is talk about what actually is work ethic. So let's define what work ethic is, and the best definition that I came across is this: a system of values in which central importance is ascribed to work or purposeful activity and to qualities of character believed to be promoted by work. So what does that actually mean? And this can be interpreted in many ways. The idea of work ethic is the values you uphold to yourself, what you believe is right, and how do you want to sort of set the bar towards the work that you do. Now, obviously, there's definitely a poor work ethic. You can have very poor values, but for the most part, the idea of building a work ethic is to perform well, is to maintain yourself to a very high standard. And the notion of the work ethic is really fundamental to prescribing the way you live your life, the way you interact with others, the way you approach your day-to-day sort of activities. That's sort of really what the definition of work ethic. And the next thing is really, why does it matter? It matters because it really sets the foundation, as I mentioned before, about setting the stage. Think of it as a launch pad, if you will. If you're able to build sort of the foundation of that work ethic, then you will set yourself up for success no matter how you look at it, no matter what sort of goals and milestones you want to achieve. Building a very foundational work ethic at the very core is probably paramount to making sure that everything else in your personal, your work life, your career, your physical, your mental health is set for success. Okay, so let's get into the crux of what actually building a work ethic looks like. So I think the most important thing is to have discipline and consistency. And I know that these types of words are thrown haphazardly around, and you need to be disciplined, and you need to be consistent. But I think you need to really take this seriously, because having strong work ethic means that you're always showing up. You are doing what needs to be done. And the difference between discipline and consistency is that discipline is when you show up even if you don't want to show up. Even if there's no motivation, you don't feel like doing it, but you show up anyway because it needs to get done. And then consistency is doing that repeatedly over and over and over again. So that's why I combine the two, because I think having strong discipline powered by strong consistency is going to get you very, very far. And discipline and consistency in and of itself will set the stage for everything else that gets included within building a strong work ethic. Okay, the next one is punctual. be punctual. I think there's a lot of instances I've come across in my career, in meeting up with family or friends. You set a time and you don't show up, or they set a time and you don't show up. For a long time, I felt that it was okay to not be punctual, but it is really a true reflection on your ability to attend to certain things in your life. It could be as simple as attending a dinner, or it could be attending someone's wedding. Show up on time, because those things will translate into different parts of your life, because how you do anything is how you do everything. So being punctual is probably another important trait to have. Show up, make sure you're on time, and even if the other party doesn't show up, at least you were true to yourself and you kept your word and you showed up, and it's on them. If they didn't turn up, then that's their fault. But you did your job and you made sure that you were punctual. That's one trait to really, really perform on. The next one is do the job with quality and pride. I can imagine there's a lot of people out there who wants to get things done very, very quickly. And it makes sense. Everyone's sort of under the pump. Everyone's stressed out. They have deadlines to meet. But I think also it comes with a sense of preparation and planning, which I'll get into soon. By being able to prepare yourself and being able to be diligent in producing high quality work is really important, especially if you are starting something yourself. I can't stress out how important it is that you are your own boss. There's no one really telling you what to do. So the quality that you put on your work is essentially up to you. You define all of that. So why not create a foundation, a work ethic where you say, look, I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to do the best work that I can be. I'm going to give it 100%, because at the end of the day, you won't have any regrets. You'll know that you put everything into it. And by making sure that you're consistently putting the work in, putting the quality in the work in, and showing up every day, I think that's really a hallmark of what good work ethic looks like. Okay, next one is great routines. Routines go hand in hand with discipline and consistency, but I think where it's different is that you are setting a schedule for yourself. You're saying, I'm waking up at this time, I'm going to the office at this time, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and you're sticking by it. You're sticking by your schedule. And I know there may be situations where you may not, there are certain extenuating circumstances where you can't get out of. But for the most part, if you set a schedule and you set this in a calendar or something on a to-do list, be sure to follow that. Be sure to make sure that you are doing these routines, because the routines will set the path and really pave the way for future activities down the road. Prepare and plan. So this is where I mentioned before, creating routines is one part of it, but preparing and planning is absolutely important as well. If your week starts on a Monday, like most people do, I think in many cases you want to start planning the day before. So you plan on a Sunday. You plan what the week is going to look like from Monday to Friday. And you say, okay, this is what I'm going to execute. And then come Monday, you plan for Tuesday. And then when Tuesday comes, you plan for Wednesday. Always be prepared and always plan, because without planning, you're going to wake up the day of and you're going to realize that I don't really know what I'm going to do. I have no schedule in place. For the most part, you really want to make sure that you do have some sort of structure and foundation that you can work on, because that's going to be your North Star for the day, for the week, for the month. Having goals, having milestones. So make sure that you do plan, because that's going to feed into your personal life. It's going to feed into your work life and beyond as well. One thing I also wanted to mention about preparing and planning is that you can think of yourself as a pilot, and also think of it as flying a plane. So the pilot is the planner at the end of the day. They are the ones who are sort of strategically planning things out for the week, for the next day and beyond. But the plane is the one that sort of just executes, the thing that just does the work. So when you wake up, all you have to do is just follow the pilot schedule, and then all you have to do is just execute it, and you don't really have to think about it. And I think Ali Abdaal provides a great example of this, where he really describes the power of the pilot and the plane concept.
The plane is us most of the time. I would say that maybe about probably 80% of our time should be in plane mode, where we are just following the instructions that the pilot has set. And maybe about 10% of our time should be in pilot mode, maybe even 15% of our time in pilot mode, which is those small moments in the day when we have clarity about what our vision, what our purpose is, what we want to be doing for the day.
The next one is build focus and resilience. So this one is kind of a no-brainer, but it's also still very important to include in building a work ethic. And the reason why I joined Focus and Resilience is that you got to have focus. You got to make sure that you are really focusing on the task at hand. You can't really waver. There's so many distractions throughout the day. There's social media, there's YouTube, there's there's family, there's coworkers that are trying to grab your attention. Everything's pulling it in your direction. So you need to make sure that you allocate time, time for yourself, time to really concentrate and focus, and also be resilient about it, meaning that if there is a distraction, if there's someone that's pinging you on your phone and you get a text message, remind yourself that you need to complete the task first, and then you can context switch to your text message or someone giving you a call or an email that someone reached out to you. The last thing you want to do is really try to get concentrated, and then all of a sudden someone pings you and then you get distracted, you switch to that task and you switch back. It's probably the last things needed for a good work ethic. And I really want to talk about the maker and manager schedule. So I'll probably talk about that in another video, but it really resonates with the idea of trying to have focus, especially when you're building stuff and not being distracted by other shiny things. The next one is take care of yourself. And this can be broken down into exercise, sleep, and diet. And I'm sure you're all aware that these categories are super important with all the research that has been coming out with exercise, with mental fitness, with physical fitness. It's so important to make sure that you put effort and time into making sure that you get enough sleep, you're eating well, and you're spending time outdoors, going to the gym, going for a run, going for a bike ride, whatever it may be, to sort of refresh yourself. Working at the office or working in front of a computer, especially now in this day and age, where a lot of us knowledge workers are in front of the screen nearly 24 hours a day, is becoming super unhealthy. So I think it's important to really release yourself from these types of environments and get out there, have a change of scenery, get out there and do some exercise, eat something that's healthy, cook something for yourself, and get enough sleep, because these things put together is going to really improve your lifestyle. It's going to improve your state of mind and make you much more better in executing your day. And then finally, I wanted to talk about building a personal ethos. So what does this mean? And this isn't really spoken about a lot, but I think it really helps me as a founder, as an investor, and working with all of these other entrepreneurs, is that you really need to be true to yourself at the end of the day. And when it comes to building a work ethic, every person's work ethic will be different for themselves. Having a personal ethos is something that I write for myself, and it's something that I need to stick by. It helps me be accountable for whatever I set myself to be. And you can write this ethos on a piece of paper, or it could be in your diary, it could be on Notion or somewhere that is kind of safe, and you come back to it every day. So for me, my personal ethos that I've written for myself, and this may change as well over time, is I choose to live a life of fulfillment instead of happiness. This lifestyle is rooted in self-discipline, personal accountability, integrity, and humility. This will trickle down into all areas of my life, career, fitness, health, relationships, etc. My mission is to help and support and inspire others around me regardless of reciprocity, and to always strive to be better myself every single day. It's just another simple example of something that I've written for myself, and you can write something for you too. Having a personal ethos facing you every day and you reading it really reinforces the notion of what your work ethic is actually like. What are you trying to achieve in this world? What do you want to build? And keeping to that ethos. So I hope that makes sense, and I really hope that you gained a lot from the sort of techniques of building a work ethic. At the end of the day, work ethic is different. It's not the same for everyone. Everyone wants to be successful and great, but everyone's going to have their own flavor of building their own work ethic. And lastly, I talked about some of the benefits that I mentioned at the beginning of the episode about building character, marginal gains, higher standards, improved odds of success. If you think about it, building a work ethic leads to all of that. It leads to setting higher standards for yourself. You're now in a much better position to really think about what do you want to achieve for yourself. You have clarity of mind, and you really want to think about, well, how does that build character? How does that improve your sense of worth to people, to yourself, but also to people around you. And people will start to notice that. They'll start to notice that, wow, this guy, this girl is really leveling up. They're really taking pride in their work. They're excited about what they're doing. They're executing. They're punctual. They're consistent. They're disciplined. So I think building that work ethic will trickle down into so many parts of your life. And so I hope that this video has been beneficial in whatever way. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up or a like, and subscribe and share it with your family and friends. It really does go a long way. So I hope that was great. I hope you enjoyed a lot of the stuff, and I hope you can use it for your own benefit. And I really want to hear about some of the things that you've done in your life to sort of improve your odds of success. And I'll see you in the next video.